Steve and Meade again, another Bullseye Guy podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Where are we going to start? Deep breath. Well, crypto winter is upon us. Whether it's crypto winter, whether it's crypto crash, for those of you that have been around long enough to remember the 99.com debacle, I was there. We had a company at its height close to $1 billion market cap in 99, and in 2000 it wasn't. And why is that important? Well, I've long said cryptocurrency is nothing more than glorified penny stocks. If you separate it out, again, I've done podcasts before, digital stable coins are like debit cards, central digital bank is like ACH, utility tokens are like a Starbucks gift card. But cryptocurrency has always been, to me, a glorified penny stock. You buy it at 10 cents because you want it to go to $1, not because you want to buy a cup of coffee. But within that realm, we're called stable coins. And the most famous, and now infamous, is Terra Luna. But one of the biggest and most popular and stable is USD-T Tether. And again, my friends that started Tether, Tether was pretty simple. It's backed by $1. So it's what's called an asset-backed stable coin. How's it work? Much like a debit card, really. If you put $1,000 in your bank account, you have a $1,000 debit card, and your debit card is technically digital money backed by the $1,000 you put into the bank. Now, the bank does some interesting things. They loan your money out. Your money isn't actually there. It's gone. It's no longer fiat. It's digital. But the theory's the same. You put $1,000 in your bank, you get $1,000 of credit in your account that you can go use and spend. Digital stable coins were theoretically set up to be the same thing. You put $1,000 into the account, you get a USD-T Tether or a USDC or a Tron TRX, but it was backed by a fiat dollar. Then we moved into asset-backed stable coins, quote, asset-backed. I hear a lot about gold asset-backed stable coins. There's not enough gold in the world to back every stable coin that's claiming they're going to be backed by gold. So I'm not a big believer in asset-backed stable coins around gold and nickel and all of these other things. And I don't know what problem they're really trying to solve. If you're trying to solve the liquidity or the stability, you still have fluctuations. And gold actually fluctuates more than dollars. Now, dollars against other currencies fluctuate. But gold actually I think has a historically more fluctuation. So thinking this is some great stable coin backed by some amorphous asset sitting somewhere didn't make a lot of sense. But along comes Terra. I love Terra Luna. Up until about 3 weeks ago, I think a lot of people did. And Terra got cute. Do Kwon and the team got cute with money. They created an algorithmic stablecoin. Excuse me. And what I mean by algorithmic, without getting overly complicated or technical, was a buy-sell mechanism that is the value of one went up, you could buy others and burn in liquidity. And I'm not going to go, totally into it, but it was designed to balance each other out. They were counterbalances tied to a tether, not a tether, but a USDT Terra and a Luna. And one was designed to be stable and pegged to $1, and the other one could actually float and go up in value. There were some other interesting things going around behind it with anchors and returns and things like that. But for the most part, it was playing with creating money through algorithms versus backing money with a fiat currency or asset backed. And I hope that makes sense, because what happened with Luna was a spectacular collapse. And I was around during the dot-com days, and there were some, big collapses during the dot-com. I don't think there was anything like Luna. Luna at its height was over $100. It started under 10 cents, I think. By the time it hit the market and people sort of knew about it, it was 40 cents. So imagine a penny stock going 40 cents to $100. It's a massive appreciation. The market cap on Luna, when it went down, was trading, I think, again, don't hold me on the numbers, around $80, and had a market cap of $40 billion. And within 48 hours, maybe 72 at the most, it was worth not only zero, it was worth negative zero. And that's kind of interesting. You're like, how can something be worth negative zero? Well, it's not really negative, but let's think about fiat versus digital assets for a moment. If you own $1, it's worth $1. If you own a penny, it's worth a penny. It's hard to divide a penny any smaller than the unit of 1 penny. It's not easily divisible. Digital assets, cryptocurrency, crypto tokens are divisible by multiple decimals, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 16. So you can have an asset that's not worth less than zero, but it's less than 1 penny by a multitude of decimals. Fascinating what you can do with digital, but it's also criminal what can happen. And it's really scary what some of these things have done. I'm not saying anything criminal happened with Doe. I'm not saying there was anything nefarious. There are some questions and concerns where people shorting the market, where there's situations going on behind. I don't look at crypto as being bad. I look at people as being bad. There's bad actors. There's bad actors that short stock in the New York Stock Exchange. There's companies in the OTC that specifically short penny stocks as a way to collapse these companies and make money at their demise. So thinking something nefarious was going on behind the scenes, to me, doesn't mean crypto's bad. It means there's bad people and bad actors. But in this situation, I don't know if it was bad actors or bad timing, but I know it's been a really bad outcome. And unfortunately, what happens a lot of times in situations like this is the quote, smart money. Guys who got in really early. I won't mention names. Excuse me, again, a little bit of a cough here. People are back driving after COVID. I'm not going to mention where I am, but the cities now have cars out and the cars are creating pollution. So I get a little environmental cough going on. It's none too friendly. But what happened with Terra and Doe is he raised a huge amount of money. Well, huge by relative terms. I know it's over, I believe over 100 million. I think it was north of $200 million. And the smart money guys got in early. Now by smart, I mean they're getting access to opportunities early. Doesn't mean they always make the best decisions, but the smart money guys get presented opportunities long before the retail customer does. And by retail, I mean average consumer. So the smart money guys get access to better deals. Doesn't mean all those deals work out. Don't mean they pick the deals. Sometimes they pick them, sometimes they pass. But some of these guys got into Terra really early and were able to exit with a massive return. Why is that important? The early guys get in, know they need to pull profits off the table. They're smart enough to not stay completely greedy, usually. And I've read and heard some things about Binance putting $3 million into Terra, and at the end it was worth $1.3 billion, and then 24 to 48 hours later is worth under $3,000. Now that strikes me a little odd, but not so much, because I think what CZ and the Binance guys did is said, hey, we put money in, we want to support the ecosystem. I don't believe they were looking at it as a trade or an investor or a venture person might. So there's an interesting aspect of them investing in a company and actually just holding the asset, not taking profits out. But a lot of these early investment companies reaped huge, huge rewards. Who was left holding the bag at the end? Unfortunately, a lot of retail customers, a lot of retail investors and people that got in late, and guys that were jumping in, you know, at 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or $50 and trying to ride the momentum. And here at the end with the crash and the collapse are in a bad situation. What does all that have to do with MonetaPro? Well, let's talk about it for a minute. One of the problems that Terra was trying to solve was, how do you create a stable coin or stable asset that also has a utility value within a marketplace where you can buy and sell things, right? The ultimate utility of even Bitcoin, people are like, oh, Bitcoin's a currency. Yeah, to me, it's more a form of payment, right? If you look at gold as an asset, I compare Bitcoin more to gold. Gold, a brick of gold is $500,000. And if I can't buy a brick of gold, I can buy a $50 gold coin. That gold coin goes up and down as the same percentage as the brick of gold. So democratization occurs. The guy that buys the $50 and the $500,000 gets the same return. Same risk, same reward, same return. What's important about that? That gold coin, some people will accept. You can go running up and down your street and some people will take gold as a form of payment. Then they can decide to either keep that gold because they think it's going to go up, or they convert it to cash because they need fiat to pay their bills. That to me is payment, not currency. Currency to me is if I pay you in that asset, you use that asset to turn around and buy other things, right? And we can make the argument that Bitcoin has some of that functional utility and operational capacity, but so does gold. Some people will accept it, but it's just not widely accepted yet. Again, so part of the premise and the dream of this socialized libertarian, we don't need banking infrastructure is how do we create a stable coin or digital asset that resides in a marketplace? And a lot of them, as I started and said, were asset backed, put money in, get an asset called a stable coin. The Terra Luna was an algorithm. What's MonetaPro done? We believe we solved many of the problems in crypto in a unique and different way. We're not going after retail. This isn't a retail play. But how do you earn money? You sell something. You sell an asset, you provide a service, you earn money, and that money has a tangible, fungible value to go buy something else. Where does that fit? Well, within MonetaPro, we built an asset earned stable credit. Again, I don't call it a stable coin. It's not asset backed. We're focused on a B2B marketplace that's massive, $17 trillion of existing activity. We're not going retail. This isn't a consumer play. It's not a guy trying to buy a 10-cent token to go to $1 or buy a cup of coffee. These are big, massive companies and countries doing corporate barter and global offsets. Why is that important? Let's go back. Michael Saylor, I've seen a couple interviews from him. He jokes about one day if the economies keep collapsing and currencies collapse, we're going to go back to where we're trading cigarettes for alcohol. Well, that's fine. Let's go back before cigarettes to alcohol. The actual original form of barter were assets. I've got chickens, you've got milk. You want chickens and I don't want milk. I need money. I need portability. Money creates portability. It creates stability. It's trackable. It allows me to have multi-party trading, but I earn that money by selling or doing something. So it's collateralized by me selling an item to earn something else. If we think about that for a moment, especially within barter or multi-party trading or what's called corporate offsets, if a car company has $1 million worth of cars left and they don't want to discount them and put them on sale, they'll look around for a partner to trade with. Say, hey, I'll give you $1 million of cars. Why don't you give me $1 million of computers? We'll call it even. However, if you want cars and I don't want computers, again, we need money. That's what MonetaPro's created. We created an asset earned stable credit. And the reason I call it a credit and not a coin is we've built a B2B marketplace where within a closed loop system, again, these are a bunch of financial buzzwords, within a closed loop system, you earn store credits, and those credits have a value. And that value is equal to $1. It's not backed by $1. It's not converted out to $1. It's an internal store credit. Think of a credit in eBay. If you had a $1,000 eBay store credit, what's that credit? It's worth $1,000. It can't be stolen. It's not a crypto. It's not an asset. It doesn't fluctuate. It's not on an exchange. You can only spend it in the network. And you don't care if the seller is in New York, Nebraska, or Nigeria. They could be in New Zealand or Zimbabwe. You have a $1,000 store credit inside a network that's asset earned. Therein lies the distinction. And again, many years ago when I was in Chicago, I won't tell the whole story, but there was a situation in 2000, was working with the city of Chicago, trying to come up with what Chicago could do to be better than the other areas. We had just gone through the 99 crash. Chicago had had some bad press. And the mayor's office I was working with, they're like, oh, Stephen, what can we do to be better? And I looked at San Francisco and the business life cycle. And I looked at the billionaires in Austin. and the Microsoft millionaires. And I went, oh, let's put together a consortium of people. Let's put together in the room the VCs, the early stage capital, the angels, the big corporations, the entrepreneurs. Let's put them all in a room and get them to do business with each other, right? When times are down, let's get them together. Let's take advantage of the crisis. And unfortunately, Mayor didn't want to do it. He thought Chicago was great. I went to a person named Rahm Emanuel. Many of you guys may know. Rahm is now famously known for this saying, never let a crisis go to waste. Now, I can't prove that he got that from me. I have a press release in 2000 publicly stating we went to the city of Chicago and we said, let's call a crisis, right? So call a crisis means how do you take advantage of a situation when markets might be down and come out of it looking stronger or get companies and countries to do things that they might not have otherwise done. That's where I think we are timing wise. I think the opportunity with not only MonetaPro to be self-serving, call a crisis. Don't let a crisis go to waste. Terra Luna's collapsed. Algorithmic stable coins aren't working. Asset-backed stable coins are even breaking their peg. The stable coins have limited usage. There's not a lot of utility. Can you create a new system for companies and countries to trade assets without using cash, but doing it an asset-earned credit system, not asset-backed coin system? That's, I think, a fascinating, unique opportunity. That's where we are in build. But outside of that, I'm curious to see, here we are in June, Bitcoin, wow, just crashed. I woke up this morning below 24,000. That's going to hurt a lot of people, us included on the company side. But let's see what comes out of this, right? If a crisis is the opportunity to create great companies, what can you do? What's going to come out of this crisis of crypto? Is it going to be a complete crash? Is it going to be a crash of the confidence? Because it's certainly not a crash of the technology. The technology is still there. The confidence may be a little bit gone. Not much different than the 99, 2000 crash. Amazon was down. I don't believe it was, somebody said the other day it was under $1. I don't remember Amazon being under $1, but it very well may have been. It may have been 90 cents. I remember at one point it was under $10, right? I remember Apple 3 or 4 times was not going to make it. You know, toys.com. Bill Gross, I love Bill Gross Idea Lab. What a visionary, right? Because vision needs to meet timing, needs to meet preparation, needs to meet opportunity, but timing is the critical one. He had pets.com. Pets.com was a massive crash. Bill took huge heat for pets.com. Why? Today you've got Chewy.com, which is like an $8 billion company. Pets.com was just early. You have Webvan. Webvan crashed. Now you've got Amazon Delivery. You have all of these companies that came out of the crash of 99, 2000. And we're stronger. And we're better. And we're built with business models that worked and made sense. That's what I'm curious to see. I wonder what's going to come out of crypto when we look at it 2, 3, 5 years from now. Who are the winners going to be? What are the better technologies? What are the more solid systems going to be? I believe asset-backed stablecoins in terms of fiat will exist. Unfortunately, not to be conspiratorial, I think most fiat-backed stablecoins are going to end up in banks. Banks will eventually offer you a $1,000 stablecoin as opposed to a debit card. Same thing. But with that, stablecoin becomes programmable aspects, which are dangerous. If a government can force you to take programmable digital money, that government then can force compliance on what you do, when you do it, how you do it. Again, not to be conspiratorial, but with new technology comes responsibility. And I don't know that there's been responsibility in terms of some of the new systems. And obviously we saw that with the collapse of Luna and Terra. We saw some lack of responsibility in terms of how this worked and what happened. Whether there'll be accountability, I don't know. Again, I don't know that anything was illegal or nefarious, but it is unfortunate what happened. So that's it. We're going to wrap up a little bit earlier today. Just curious again, asset-backed stablecoins, great. Tether, USDC, Tron TRX, asset-backed stable coins with gold. I'm not a big fan of. There's not enough gold in the world to back. Everybody says they're going to be asset-backed. I think the real future and opportunity is in an asset-earned stable credit for the largest companies in the countries in the world to trade assets without using cash. That's one of the dreams of crypto. Can you have an asset-backed or asset-earned stable platform that has liquidity where people can buy, sell, and trade without government intervention and without cash? That's what we built. I think other people are going to build some cool things. Let's see where it ends. Let's see where it lands. But for now, never let a crisis go to waste. So MonetaPro is moving forward. I hope you are too. Stephen Meade, thank you so much for tuning in. The Bullseye Guy podcast. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you very much.